Welcome to tonight's live stream. I'm going to get started in a moment. I just need to let everyone know that the stream is currently on the air. Good evening, Steve Awalamak and Wednesday Nightmare and Yuki the Snowman. Glad to see you all here. And before I get into tonight's topic, I wanted to let everybody know that next week's live stream will feature a very special guest, Underworld and the creator of Blue Marvel, Kevin Grievou, and we will be talking all about his new Darkstorm Comics brand and the upcoming Kickstarter that he has for his new book, The Vindicators. So that's going to be this extra special guest for next week's live stream, and I hope you'll be there with me and Kevin Grievou as we discuss his Darkstorm comics and the entire world of heroes in that universe. And I also wanted to let everybody know that I'm hard at work on all of the books of the SJS Direct 2025 catalog, and I'm getting ready to start getting everything ready for launching that catalog on March 21st. And the first book of the year, John Haynes' A Thorn in My Side, is already completely edited and ready to go. All I'm waiting for is the paperback proof, and the Kindle version is up already. So if you want to pre-order the Kindle version, you may do so by heading over to Amazon.com right now. And the next book after that, I just got through talking to Bill Walker, and I'm hoping to get a sketch for East's season of The Witch Girl. So that book is on its way. That book has been finished ever since about last year. I mean, I have been working hard on that book. So that book is already finished. And the third book for the year, Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer, I'm halfway through with the editing, and I've got a lot of great surprises as related to the art. Now, as everybody knows, I originally planned for this to be a light novel. Unfortunately, the original artist I planned to work with, basically, I don't know what happened to him, never got back to me, but I had to regroup on that project, and Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer will still be a light novel, but the imagery will be a little different. And I'm hoping that everyone will enjoy Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer, the book I've released for the 10th anniversary of Spinsterella, the first Black Goth character I created back in 2015. And this book basically will be the bookends for all of the books in the Spinsterella saga. So everything here with Goth Girl Summer basically will conclude everything that was from Spellbound to Legendary Mad Matilda, and Goth Girl Summer takes place in the year 2000. So all you new Millennium Goths, I think you're going to enjoy this book, and people who were around in the year 2000, because I go in depth on the times of the year 2000. That was a great year for me because it was a year I was working at AmeriCorps Vista, and again, on my way in my 20s. So I really wanted to take everybody back to that time and how bright and optimistic life was back then. And I hope to have that book out in May. And Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer is a big book. It's going to be about over 600 pages. So you're going to be in for a treat with that book. and I hope you'll be there to pick it up. Mata, one day maybe I will show everyone my toys, but back there is just a small part of my collection. Those are my Voltron Deluxes and the Dynamite figures from Loose Collector. Brought those because I wanted to support Loose Collector. He was a guy I'd followed on the Floosh for many years, and I wanted to help his company out, Executive Replicas and Loose Collector toys. So I bought all of those: Vampirella, Red Sonja, Purgatory, Critter, Lady Death. I bought all those characters, and again, I do that because I wanted to support a comic collector as he was starting his business, and I do that for many independent creators when I go out here and donate to their Kickstarters and give their Kickstarters a shout out. Now, with all of that said, I'm going to get into tonight's topic, and tonight's topic is basically based on a comment that a female viewer made on one of my videos where I talked about these black women who were complaining about nerdy black guys. And that was a live stream I made, and I basically took that female to the barbecue for saying that nerdy guys need to go back to the women who went out here and got with the drug dealers. And this woman had gone out here and said, oh, those black and square guys and those nerdy guys were out here, and they were not giving the black girl nerds any attention. And I made a follow-up video, and I took that chick straight to the barbecue with my own personal observations and life experiences, and wanted to point it out that many of the black female nerds out here, they were not really out here looking to get with the square guys. No, they were not only going out here looking to get with Pookie and Ray Ray, but they were the original Swirlers and Divestors. Now, people remember from the 20-teens, Crystal Karazin, a YouTuber, made a book called Swirling, and in that book, she was talking about black women having their dating options and exploring their dating options with white men and non-black men because there were not any quality black men out here. And that became a major battle in the gender war. And Cynthia G, when she was on YouTube, oftentimes used to talk about wanting for black women to divest from the black community by going out here and marrying white and non-black men and leaving the black community altogether. And this is what many of these black women made in their battles with the gender war. But what many of those black women in the gender war did not know is that there were already a group of black girls who were out here who were the original pioneers of swirling and divesting, and those black girls were the black female nerds. Now, the black female nerds were not really interested in any black male nerd square guys who collected comics or science fiction and fantasy. Now, many of these black female nerds were into comics, science fiction, and fantasy, but they didn't have anything in common with their black male counterparts, because when it came down to the black female nerd in a lot of places basically had dating options, and she kept those dating options to herself. Now, the black female nerd kept those dating options to herself because she already knew, as a social creature, she basically had an advantage in the social marketplace, and she didn't want to give up that advantage in the social marketplace. And that's where the black female nerd kept her mouth shut. And as she kept her mouth shut, she basically went out here creeping on the low. And as she creeped on the low, this is where I call her Little Miss Sneaky. Now, Little Miss Sneaky was out here sneaking around, looking to go out here and explore those dating options that opened up for her, because she basically got the high grades and basically had the ability to basically get into access to other social circles. And because she was able to get access to those social circles, what she was able to do was get an advantage over the more popular girls as related to competing in the social marketplace. And as she got the advantage to compete in the social marketplace, Little Miss Sneaky saw that she had a lot more dating options on the table and looked to go out here and use that to her advantage as related to competing in the social marketplace. And that's something many black girl nerds won't ever talk about and won't even tell their own mothers about. No, when it came to the black female nerd, the black female nerd really kept everything quiet as related to things and kept everything secret, not only from her mother, but from her girlfriends. When it came to the black female nerd, she kept everything quiet and on the low, as she was Little Miss Sneaky. And as Little Miss Sneaky basically saw the advantages she had in school as related to her academic grades, she saw an advantage given to her from those academic grades as she was allowed to enter other social circles, like many of the prep schools and the programs that she had been given. That's where she saw the advantage. I mean, when she was sent to those AP classes across town in many inner city neighborhoods and sent to those schools in those very nice neighborhoods, she started to see that she had a new pool of guys basically she could go out here and pursue at these private schools when she was sent to either those AP classes or those gifted and talented programs. And when she was sent to those gifted programs and those AP classes, she not only had access to the circles of those black males in those schools, but she now had access to those circles of white and non-black guys. And as she got access to those white and non-black guys, this is where she got expanded dating options. She got expanded dating options in addition to her academic options. And that's where many of the black female nerds became the new group, the original pioneer group of Swirlers and Divestors. And they became the pioneer group of Swirlers and Divestors in the 1980s because as they entered these academic programs, they became a part of those white social or non-black social circles in those prep schools and those schools where they were a part of those gifted programs. And usually most of the guys in those gifted programs were usually white guys and non-black guys. So they basically got a door opened for a lot of them. And as they got that door opened for a lot of them, this is why a lot of those black female nerds did not see the square black male guy as an option because she already was given a better option as related to having access and an opportunity to get with those white guys and those non-black guys who were Asian and Hispanic. So she already said, look, I already have a chance at being with a guy who was higher up on the social ladder. And this is what flew over the head of many a black male nerd. When it came down to the black male nerd, he didn't understand that the black female nerd could go and basically elevate her social status by getting with that white guy or that Asian guy or that Hispanic guy. She could go out here and again elevate her social status. And that's why she didn't see the black male nerd as somebody she had anything in common with, even though that black male nerd might have been into comics, that black male nerd may have been into video games, that black male nerd might have been into pro wrestling or anime or manga. That black male nerd basically just did not have the ability to elevate her social status. And the opportunity to get with the white guy, no matter how corny he was, basically led to her looking to choose him instead, and choose him instead because she could basically elevate her own social status by just being with that white guy. And that's why many black female nerds never chose the black male nerd, because they had the option to choose the white male over at the prep school or the Asian guy at the prep school. And if that didn't work out, they could go out here and still get their social status elevated by Pookie or Ray Ray. So these women were the original swirlers and basically put themselves in those social circles and looked to pursue those white guys on the low. and it pursued those guys on the low because they wanted that opportunity and they wanted to be able to get that opportunity. And again, this is what they kept quiet for many years. Many of the black female nerds kept it very quiet as they were in high school. They just kept it super quiet. And many of the popular black girls, as they were out here with the dope boys and the gangbangers and the thugs, they were thinking that they were at the top of the social marketplace. But in actuality, the people who were at the top of the social marketplace were the black female nerds. And again, the black female nerds were basically there because they were Little Miss Sneaky. They were out here on the low. And as they were out here on the low, they basically saw better options for pursuing these white guys and these Asian guys and some of these Hispanic guys or even some of these Arab guys. And again, they did this quietly in a stealthy way. And as they did this in a stealthy way, they were out here swirling, basically, usually when they were at school. And sometimes they would be Little Miss Sneaky on the weekends, be Little Miss Sneaky talking about, oh, they had to do some tutoring at school, or they had to go for after-school programs. And usually with the black female nerd, they were master liars. And again, master liars that were even beyond the popular girls. They were so good at lying, they could basically tell you a straight lie, and basically you wouldn't even know she was lying. And while she was saying that she was out at tutoring, she was out here having a relationship, out here dating the white guys from the prep schools or the programs. They were out here with the white guys going out on these dates and having their good time. And many black folks didn't know what was going on. No, many black folks out here, they were just upset sitting up there with their grills cooking because the girls in the neighborhood were out here with Pookie, but the nerd girl was out here with Brad, with Tyrone, with not Tyrone, but Javier, with Jen Lu and all of those guys, and having a good time with them on Saturday afternoon. And then they would come home with a straight face to mama, talking about how they learned so much about trigonometry, when in actuality, they were studying anatomy and studying things like the egg roll or the Vienna sausage or the chorizo. They were basically, again, having a taste of all of those exotic flavors inside of that guy's house, or sometimes in a hotel room, again, having a taste of that Vienna sausage, or some of that, or having a taste of the egg roll, or having a taste of cream of some yum guy, or having a little bit of the chorizo. I mean, she was basically out here again running these streets just like the popular girls, all while keeping up a face, making it look like she was the quiet square girl who was the good girl, and again, keeping it all quiet. And the whole thing is with the quiet chick, oftentimes still water runs real deep, and this chick basically is like an ocean. When it comes down to, again, many of the black female nerds, again, they are just, the water really runs deep, and again, runs deep into the ocean, where you're going to possibly find a lot of them skeleton bones, lots of them skeleton bones. They'll sit there and again talk about how they are one of these women focused or girls focused on academic excellence, but behind the scenes, as they are pursuing that academic excellence, they are looking to pursue the social accomplishment of participating in some swirling and hoping that this of the relationship will eventually allow them to go out here and be the first person in their community to go out here and divest from the black community. Now, many of these black female nerds, they had a goal to divest before Cynthia G even were able to think of a concept, because what they wanted to do was divest from the black community because they never really had much investment. What happened is many of these girls, again, were the gifted chicks. And again, what they wanted to do was outsmart everyone as they were a part of these academic programs, and look to, again, outsmart all of the popular girls socially, outsmart them by keeping it on the low, that they were out here with the white guys and the Asian guys and the Arab and the Indian guys, and wanted to go out here and pull the ultimate finesse by divesting and leaving the black community, and basically getting the ultimate leg up on the popular girls, getting the ultimate leg up on all of those popular girls who were out here with the dope boys, and basically being able to leave the black community with a higher social status. This is what the black nerd girls were doing when they were teenagers. And once they again got to that level of academic excellence, they wanted to again elevate themselves and get that ultimate social acceptance, and do this all while many of the popular black girls were out here thinking they were out here in the 80s with the dope boys and the drug dealers, thinking they were doing well. But these women basically thought they were going to be able to do better on the low, and be able to use the low to get to the high, get to the highest place in the social marketplace with the white and non-black guys. That's what they were up to in the 80s and the 90s. And many of these black female nerds, again, many people never knew this about them. They were sitting there thinking, oh, these girls were doing just as bad as the black male nerds. But no, the black female nerd had a whole lot of other dating options, and again, had those dating options from day one, as they were sent to these academic programs. Once they got sent to the academic programs, whether they be the AP programs across town from the public school or the private schools, they basically had those options, and they used those options early on. And once they graduated from college, that's when these women got the ultimate advantage. They got the ultimate advantage because they already had the inside track with the white guys, and they had the inside track on socializing with the white guys. And that's why I say they were the original swirlers, and they were basically on the fast track to divesting before Cynthia G could ever come up with that concept on a live stream, or Crystalline Carrison could ever put a finger to the keyboard for talking about swirling. Now, when it came to a lot of the other black girls, what happened to them is that they basically did not have that advantage until they got to college. Now, when a lot of the black girls got that advantage to go to the bigger universities, like the black female nerds did, that was when they got the first exposure to the white guys. But the black female nerd already had exposure to them in the private schools, and they had exposure to them in the AP classes across town. And after they got graduated from school, they were able to go to college. And once they went to college, the black female nerd, that's when she really started to again step up her game. If she did not already have a white guy, she was already looking to go get another white guy. And again, basically looking to get another white guy because she already knew how to work those social circles. She already knew how to work the social circles in high school, and knew how to work the social circles inside of the after school activities that many of these girls were in. I mean, when it came to the black female nerd, she basically knew how to work social circles like the Comic-Cons and all the other events that the black male nerds went to, but didn't know how to go out here and talk to the white guys. They knew how to, again, get their game to another level because they were already out here with the white guys. And again, once they got into college, this is where they basically, again, got another advantage over the black females who went to college, who were already thinking about swirling and, again, pursuing their dating options. But the black female nerd basically had those dating options, and she used them in high school and further used them in college. Because oftentimes when you saw a black female nerd, when she was at a college campus, usually she was out here with a white boy or an Asian guy in most cases. Sometimes you would see the occasional one with a Hispanic guy, or you would see them with an Arab guy. That was the exception sometime, but usually it would be with the white and Asian guys. And again, with the white and Asian guys, because they had those options. And since they had those dating options, they exercised those dating options, and usually exercised those dating options because they basically, again, were able to get that opportunity. Able to get that opportunity. Yes, there were a lot of nerdy black guys out there, but the nerdy black guy wasn't going to get an opportunity at those black female nerds because those black female nerds basically thought they were better than the black male nerd, and they thought they were smarter than the black male nerd, and they thought they had a better advantage than the black male nerd. So they felt like going out here with a black male nerd was settling for less. So what they wanted to do was go for the guy at the top and go for the guy at the top right now, because this was an option, again, an option that they would have, and again, did not have to settle for the black male nerd. And that was really upsetting to a lot of black male nerds to hear this thing, because when it comes to the females, again, this is just female nature. And in female nature, in adolescence, girls are naturally hypergamous. And with girls being naturally hypergamous, they're going to go out here and look to choose the guy with the highest social status and the most resources. And when they're at the prep school, what are they seeing? They're seeing the guy with the high social status compared to the guys in the neighborhood. They're seeing guys with more resources than the guys in the neighborhood. I mean, when it comes to many of these white guys and these non-black guys, like these Asian guys and Hispanic and other guys, they're coming from well-established families that are making good money. And these women basically, again, while they'll sit there and talk about how they are outcast in their community, in this community, they've got more options, and they're going to take advantage of those options. And again, that's just basic female nature. If you enter a social circle and you get an opportunity at the guys on a higher level, that's what girls are gonna do. I mean, that's what the popular girls in high school did. They were looking to get with the guys with the highest social status and the most resources, and those were basically Pookie and Ray Ray in the neighborhood, who had been artificially inflated to that position by the neighborhood dope man and the white supremacists behind them. And that's sadly what many of the square guys and the nerds didn't understand. They didn't understand that the deck was already stacked. And again, when it comes to many women, they basically, again, are going to go for what they see is the guy who can elevate them. And that's what the black female nerds were doing, again, using their intelligence to get the advantage. And that's why they didn't go out here and do this out front. No, they wanted to go and be Little Miss Sneaky, and they wanted to be Little Miss Sneaky because they did not want the popular girls to know about their advantage and basically let the competition in on their game. And again, the competition wouldn't be able to access those guys. No, they weren't able to access the white guys. So these women basically, again, look to protect their access to white men. And that's why they kept everything on the low, even kept it from their mamas, kept it from the girls in their neighborhood, kept it from their homegirls. This was Little Miss Sneaky's secret, and she kept that secret so close to her that she basically was holding it until she passed away. I mean, when it came to the black female nerd, she kept this, again, so close to the vest. No one really knew what was going on outside of people who traveled in those circles. And again, I basically learned this from experience because, again, I was one of those guys who had family members who were a part of these kind of things and traveled in those circles for about a minute. So I knew what was going on as related to things, but I just, again, knew what was going on, but I knew it couldn't do much about it. But the whole thing is it was going on. And a lot of guys want to sit there and say, oh, I'm the square dude, and I'm really upset. But the whole thing is you have to understand that this just was how things were going to go. And again, we're going to go because when it came to the black female nerd, yes, she may have been not the best looking or may have been socially awkward compared to us. But the whole thing is in that new social marketplace, she was considered an exotic novelty. And again, an exotic novelty. And again, somebody who had appealed to the white guys and the Hispanic guys and the Asian guys. And basically, again, she was, again, allowed to explore those dating options. And again, explore those dating options as related to things, as she hoped to basically again elevate her social status above the popular girls who were with the dope boys and the gang members and the thugs, and hoped to be able to go out here and throw a middle finger up at all of those chicks as they went out here and became baby mamas. That was her ultimate plan, was to basically throw up that middle finger and basically laugh at those chicks as she went out here and not only was able to swirl, but was able to divest. And her divestment started with being admitted to one of these top Ivy League colleges. That's how many of these black female nerds wanted to start their road to divestment. They wanted to divest from the black community to going to one of those academic colleges where she could go out here and build up her credentials. And after she built up her credentials and built up her network, she would get one of these big corporate jobs and be able to, again, walk away from the black community and basically divest and be with this white or non-black man. That's how these black female nerds went about their plan for divesting from the black community. And again, more elaborate and more insidious than anything that many of the black women who, like Crystal and Karazin and Cynthia G, ever proposed. No, when it came to the black female nerd, she already had a plan to swirl. She already had a plan to divest. And she already had a plan to, again, walk away from the black community because she never had a connection to it at all. No, she was the outsider to the black community. And with her being the outsider to the black community, she was never wanting to be a part of it. No, she was always put on the road by her mother to be on a road to doing better. But the whole thing is that she basically was on such a road that she was even looking to go beyond her mother. That's what many black people don't understand about the black female nerd. They don't understand that the black female nerd was already on a road to looking to swirl, looking to divest, and again, outsmart everyone in the black community, outsmart everyone in the neighborhood, and outsmart even her own family. And again, many black folks don't understand this at all. And they're thinking, oh, the black female nerd is just like the black male nerd. No, 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 no. This chick is a lot more insidious than you think as related to things. And for her, once she gets that option, she takes that option. But usually in a lot of cases, when it comes to the black female nerd, that she basically, what happens to her is that she will go out here looking to explore those options. And oftentimes when she looks to explore those options, this is where she runs into basically getting turned out as she's out here dropping the skid mark jockey draws and going for a taste of the crema somnium guy with the egg roll, or the guy with the Vienna sausage, or the chorizo, or the falafel. I mean, she's basically, again, looking to give these guys a taste of the atomic waste, and again, give them a taste from the special place, hoping that a taste of chocolate will basically get these guys hooked. But what these guys basically want to find out is what chocolate tastes like. And sometimes after they've gotten their taste of chocolate, they basically look to dump these chicks. And that's why a lot of these black female nerds are basically out here being so freaky, like one of the viewers in the stream talked about. When it came to the black female nerd, she will do a lot of stuff with the white guys, again, on the low. And I won't describe the things that they do with the white guys on the low, but I was, again, on the camp. One of my family members was on the campus of Columbia University, and they were walking by one of these interracial couples, and the white guy just openly told one of his friends that he was just there for the sex. So when it came to the white guys, they just basically wanted to find out what it was like to be with a black girl. And again, the black female nerd thinks that she can create a covert contract where she can go out here and be with the white guy, and that her taste of chocolate will basically get him hooked to the point where he will allow her to, again, be with him. But the whole thing is that these guys are seeing college as a place where they can go out here and sow their oats. And after they sow their oats, what happens to a lot of these black female nerds is usually they just get turned out after these guys get their taste of chocolate. And that's where the black female nerd, after she's gone out here and smashed the white guy, smashed the Asian guy, or smashed the Hispanic or Arab guy, what they will do is then look to go back to the black community. And as they look to go back to the black community, this is where they pass by the black male nerd and pass by the black male nerd for Pookie and Ray Ray. They pass them by for Pookie and Ray Ray because they want to continue experiencing that high social status, and they want to continue experiencing being at the top of the social pecking order. And if they couldn't do it secretly in the white and non-black communities where they were a part of those prep schools and be able to, again, swirl and then work towards divesting, this is where they go out here and make a compromise with the dope boys and, again, get involved with them because they're going to outsmart the system. And that's what the black female nerd will do. She will look to finesse and outsmart everyone by getting with Pookie and Ray Ray. And this is why the black male nerd was never an option for her, because she basically, again, saw the polarized sides of the spectrum. And I'm going to take a page from the book that the brother sent me about how to date a black woman, and he talked about the whole polarizing situation. And again, they go from one polarity to the next, and they go from one polarity to the next because, again, they are going for the guys who they can believe have the highest social status and have the access to the most resources. And this is why they don't want to work with the square guy. They don't want to follow the lead of the square guy because the square guy basically means that they have to put in work. And when it came to the black female nerd, she wants to work on the books, but as related to the social marketplace, she wants to work on getting up on those higher social levels, and working with a square guy ain't gonna get her on those high levels in the social marketplace. Working with the square guy ain't gonna take her to the next level. Working with the square guy ain't gonna get her out here and make her popular. No, working with the square guy is basically gonna put her on a lower social level. And that's why she never ever wants to consider the square guy until she's basically either after she's turned out by the white guys and the non-black guys at the top of the social pecking order, and then turned out by Pookie and Ray Ray. That's when she wants to consider the square black guy, and that's where she's no different than your traditional popular black girl that many of the square guys picked, because in both cases, the only time they want to pick the square guy is when they are out here after they have been turned out by both guys on both sides of the polarity. And that's when they want to go out here looking for the good man. That's when they want to go out here looking for the square guy who was, again, doing well in class and doing well as related to college and having a good job. They only want the man that's good for them. And I talk about this in my book, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. They only want the man who is good for them. And the whole thing is that if they have that opportunity to go out here and be with the guys at the top of the social marketplace, they're going to go and be with those guys. And that's where the black female nerd is a hypocrite as related to things, because she's the one who will sit there and say, oh, I'm the nerd girl, I'm the good girl, I'm out here being smart and looking for the good guys. But in actuality and reality, she's looking for the same guys that the girls who are popular are looking for. And she's looking to climb the same social ladder. And if she can get the opportunity to climb the same social ladder, she will take that opportunity because she wants to get her social status elevated. And she's more desperate to get her social status elevated than the girl who's already with the dope boy. Now, the girl with the dope boy already made a compromise with white supremacy to be with this guy and basically see her community destroyed. But this chick basically is more dishonest because she's basically trying to make it look like she's so sweet and innocent, similar to the white girls. she looks to make it look like she's so sweet and innocent, when in actuality, as she's out here talking about how she's the good girl, she's even more foul and more dishonest, more foul and dishonest to go out here and again say, oh, I want to go out here and be able to move my life ahead and be this academic excellence. But when it comes to being social, she's not about social excellence. She's basically out here looking to compete in a more sneaky and more insidious way, and looking to compete in a more sneaky and insidious way because she's out here, again, she's out here looking to swirl, looking to work on a road to divestment and investing her time to climbing this social ladder. And many of the other black guys are out here. They're sitting there upset, thinking, oh, why can't I get the girls? Well, you can't get the nerdy girls because, again, the nerdy girls ain't checking for you. And that's the real problem with a lot of these square black guys. Nobody ever sat down and told them that, look, you shouldn't get upset. This is just female nature. This is just girls being girls and women being women. And you just have to understand that this is how it is as related to the nerdy chick. And the nerdy chick is just, again, another part of the polarity of the spectrum as related to the popular girls. And again, both of them want to say that they're different, but when it comes to female nature, they're both the same. When it comes to both of them, they are just the same. And when it comes to the lot of the guys out here, again, you have to accept that female nature is female nature. And that's what I had to do in 1989 when I looked at the whole picture of girls as related to things, because I had been bullied into people telling me I needed a girlfriend, but I was looking at the way these females were behaving, and I just said, it just isn't worth the time because they're going to go for what they're going to go for. And the whole thing is that you just have to go out here and focus on yourself. And that's what a lot of square guys really don't understand. They don't understand that the ultimate solution when it comes down to chicks like this is that you just have to charge them to the game because this is what they're going to do in their youth. This is what they're going to do in their prime. And you have to focus on actualizing your potential as a man. You have to focus on actualizing yourself as a man. And these chicks think that they're smart, but the whole thing is that they've basically, again, outsmarted themselves. Because in a lot of cases, when it comes down to the black female nerd, and I've seen a lot of really smart black girls, basically after they get turned out, their whole life winds up sadly falling apart, even though they got the good grades. What happened is that they either got pregnant by one of these white guys, or they got pregnant by Pookie, and basically their entire life fell apart because while they thought they were smart, they got outsmarted, and as they got outsmarted, they wound up getting embarrassed. And instead of them continuing to persevere, they just wound up falling apart because they basically, the secret got out on them as related to them being Little Miss Sneaky. And again, Little Miss Sneaky basically outsmarted herself. And as she wound up outsmarting herself, the whole thing is that you just can't get upset about it. That's just how it goes for her. And you should just be glad that you dodged a bullet. Now, when it comes to you as a man, you have to understand your job is to focus on who you are in God and your role as a man, as a leader. As a leader, you have to focus on learning how to become a leader and finding the women who want to follow your lead. That's what really trips up a lot of brothers out here who will sit there and ask me the question, what are you supposed to do? Well, what you are supposed to do as a black man is learn about leadership and learn about establishing standards for yourself. You have to learn about leadership and learn how to, again, start learning how to be a man of God and learning how to be the man who can be a head and a steward. Learn how to be a man who is a leader. And as you are a man who is a leader, start to develop traits of like situational awareness and learn how to observe the world. And as you learn situational awareness and how to see things like nonverbal cues and body language and facial expressions, this is where you're going to start to see the women who are into you. Because what happens with a lot of black male nerds is, again, we live inside our heads. And I talked about this in a video this week about living inside your head, because living inside your head is a very dangerous thing. Living inside your head is very dangerous because you can't see the world around you. And since you can't see the world around you, what happens is you miss out on opportunities, especially social ones, because there are a lot of great chicks out there who are actually interested in you. And you miss out on those opportunities because you're focused either on trying to get with the popular chick, or you're focused on the black female nerd who, again, is out here very arrogant and very snotty. Again, when it came to a lot of black female nerds, they were very arrogant, conceited, and snotty. And again, they were like this because not only because they did well academically, but they were doing better socially because they had access to those white and non-black guys. And because they had access to those white, or non-black guys, they thought, again, they could do better than the black nerd. And that's why they wanted nothing to do with the black nerd. It wasn't about him being corny. It was about her having more options. And with her having more options, this is why she was, again, really snotty and conceited and stuck up and downright nasty, because she thought she could do better than that black kid, and that as related to a black nerd. And she thought she could do better than the black nerd. So this is why she don't want nothing to do with that dude. Don't want nothing to do with that dude because she thinks she can do better than him. And again, the black male nerd, he never knew anything about this, but I wanted the new generation of guys out there to know what's going on. I want y'all to know what's going on because, again, when it came to black female nerds, they have been doing the swirling and divesting, and this was even featured in a lot of different forms of media. I mean, you would see it in different types of movies and shows. I mean, Robin Givens starred in a couple of things that showed this. And in real life, you had Mark Voorhees, who was out here with Mark Porgosalar when she was working on Saved by the Bell. I mean, when it came down to, when, again, black women, if they can get the option for the white guy, they would choose that option if they got the chance. And again, when it came down to the black female nerd, she was the first one to get that option, was the first one to get the opportunity to get out here and be able to explore those dating options. And when it came down to some black male nerds, they were doing the exact same thing. I mean, when some of the black male nerds got out here, they were in high school, and again, in a lot of these suburban places or these gifted and talented programs and academic programs, they were allowed those opportunities. And again, they took those opportunities to get with the white girls and the Asian girls and all the other types of girls. So this is what happens, again, when it comes to a lot of the black female nerds and the black male nerds in some cases. But a lot of black male nerds, again, don't get those opportunities because, again, a black male nerd, he's smart in black social circles. But when it comes down to the black female nerd, she's allowed, again, she's put in these programs because a lot of these schools are gynocentric. And again, white female teachers are going to look at black female academic excellence, and it's going to benefit her because they're going to, again, look to put her on a fast track. Whereas with black males, a lot of times we are put on a fast track to special education. And because we're put on a fast track to special education, we can't get those options. And again, the black male out here, again, doesn't have those options. So a lot of folks are wondering, oh, how did so many black women go out here and talk about swirling? Well, again, the black female nerd was doing this before it was a concept. The black female nerd was running this game, and the black female nerd was running this game because she had that option. And again, that option was her secret. And as Little Miss Sneaky, she had that option. She had that option for over 30 years before, again, I will repeat it once more, before Crystalline Karazin ever put a finger to the keyboard for her swirling book, before Cynthia G ever did a live stream on divesting, this chick was already living with Brad in the suburbs or going over to his house on 57th Street here in Manhattan. She was going up to his townhouse and again, dropping those skid mark jockey draws and again, letting this guy get a taste of chocolate. I mean, she was out here with these guys before those black women ever came up with those concepts. And these women were so far ahead in the game that many guys didn't know about it. and again, didn't know about it and didn't really, and many brothers like myself didn't care because we knew that this was just a small group of chicks. But when that chick dropped the comment in my on one of my videos, that's where I had to let everybody know what the game is about the black female nerd, because I already knew what the game was many years ago. Again, as somebody who was working towards being on the honor roll, I already knew the game with these kind of chicks. And again, knew that they were not an option because they already thought that they could do better than me, because they were on this road to academic excellence. They were on the road to college prep. They were on the college campuses on the weekends and during after school. So they were already ahead of the game. And again, were ahead of the game for years. But you had people thinking, oh, black male nerds have this option. No, never had that option. No, it was either they were going to get with the white guys or the non-black guys or Pookie and Ray Ray. That's always been how things go. That's always how the game has always been. And what a black man has to do is understand that he has an option to learn how to become a steward of God, how to become a leader that meets God's standard. That is his option, because there he will find a woman who will be suitable to be a helpmeet to meet his needs. And the black female nerd is not interested in helping meet the needs of a man who's out here who has good character. No, she's out here again looking to elevate her social status and looking to go out here and be at the top of the social pecking order as related to man. So when it comes to the black female nerd, she's not an option. She's not an option for any square guy, not an option at all. No, she was never an option. She was never into you. And since she's never into you, you've got to understand, you got to just charge her to the game, and again, keep it pushing. That's what I had to do in high school. That's what I did in college, because when it came to both of them, they both became baby mamas. One became the baby mama of Pookie's kids. The other one became the baby mama of some white or non-black guy's kids and had a mixed child. Usually that's what happens in these cases, because in both cases, they get turned out. And that's what happened in the 90s as I got into my 20s and toward the late 90s. These were the chicks looking for the good man. These were the chicks looking for the good man with the sad stories and looking for the sad stories in life, because they wanted to tell the square guy, oh, this happened to me. I just stuff happened to me and things didn't go right. I was on my road to Harvard, and then basically I got involved with this guy and I had a kid. And then you find out the kid is biracial. Either they're half black or they're half Asian or half Hispanic. And they basically got with the guy thinking they were going to get a mixed child with either curly hair. In the case of the Hispanic guy, a lot of girls said back in the 80s, they wanted to have the Puerto Rican guy so they could have the kid with the curly hair, or they wanted to have the kid with the crystal blue eyes and the creamy white skin. I mean, this is what happened to them. And then what they want you to do is, as the square guy who stayed on business, is be the guy who's going to clean up the mess. And the whole thing is, if this chick was so smart, she would have been able to take care of her own business. And again, a lot of guys didn't have the backbone or the stones back then to tell these chicks this. No, a lot of the square guys thought, oh, I might get a shot. No, you didn't have a shot. Then you don't have a shot. Now, no, what she's looking for at this point is, after outsmarting everyone, thinking about trying to find a way to finesse a simp into basically cleaning up her mess. And that's what they want to do. They basically want to find a black guy to clean up the mess. But you have to say to yourself, okay, if this chick wasn't into me in high school and she wasn't into me in college as I was looking to try to build myself up, then there's no reason for me to come and try to work with this woman as she's looking to go out here and get me to clean up a mess that's basically want to tear my life down. And that's why many guys basically go out here and, again, who are smart, charge her to the game, because if they didn't want him to be a dad, because she was out here looking for Brad, then there's no reason for you to go out here and lower your standards and be the cleanup guy. lower your standards and be the cleanup guy, cleaning up this mess that this woman made on the low, made a mess on the low as Little Miss Sneaky, but wants to come out here with that mess out in the open, wanted to go out here and clean up this, get you to clean up the mess, and basically get you to clean up that mess. And again, this is why you got to be careful with the black female nerd, because she's Little Miss Sneaky. And again, Little Miss Sneaky lives a double life where she's basically putting up an image of this ideal of being a good girl and the ideal of a responsible girl. But on the low, she's got another life where she's out here doing a lot of dirt in these streets, with all sorts of different dudes. And again, out here being super freaky. I mean, she was doing stuff, again, because she wants to compete with the white girls. So this is why she's out here letting these white guys smash and letting these white guys go do all sorts of stuff that I cannot discuss on this channel, because this is a family channel. And with it being a family channel, we cannot discuss these type of things. So the whole thing is that these chicks, well, again, they will look out here, looking all square. But the whole thing is, the only thing they care about is elevating their social status. And again, a lot of guys don't know what's going on. They don't know the secrets that these chicks have. I talk about this in Misadventures of Captain Save-'em. I talk about, in Misadventures of Captain Save-'em, how these are the chicks who want you to put the cape on and look to save them from their disasters. And again, save you from them. But the whole thing is, they go out here and do things and do stuff that's really out here that's crazy, and you won't know about any of these skeleton bones. And it just is a shock to your system. It's a shock to your system all around. A shock that basically will have you sitting up there going, I never thought this girl was like this. I mean, if you ever watched The Cosby Show, and I know The Cosby Show is an old show for a lot of folks out here, go watch the episode of Vanessa when she's going to the concert for the Wretches. Go watch that episode, and you'll see a textbook example of Little Miss Sneaky in action. I mean, the level of lying on that Vanessa participates in that episode. This is what Little Miss Sneaky does on the low. And this is the double life that these type of chicks live, and basically, again, are living out here, and is out here doing this stuff. And again, out here, I mean, into things that you will just blow your mind. Nightingale Wednesday Nightmare, I'll look into that story of Kemba Smith, because it sounds just like what I'm talking about in the stream. And again, basically, again, she got lucky and got out of that whole situation and got out of that jam, and basically got out of that jam, and now is with her two sons. I'm going to have to look into that story, because that sounds like a good historical women in crisis video. So I'm going to have to take a look at that and see what that story is all about. And Introvert Rockstar makes a good point. Yeah, a lot of them not only are with the guys, but they're out here exploring the white girls and non-black girls. Again, lots of skeleton bones at these prep schools, a lot of skeleton bones in these dormitories. I mean, again, the nerdy chick be having all sorts of bones, all sorts of skeletons all around. And again, you wouldn't know about these secrets. Again, I talk about this in Misadventures of Captain Save-'em, how these chicks have secrets that they will take to the grave, won't tell you about those secrets, won't tell you about what's going on, won't even tell mama about what's going on. And that is something that she will take with her to the grave. And you may not find, the only time you might find something is if you might find some picture somewhere or something out here. I mean, this is what happens out here. I mean, and nobody want to talk about it, because, again, a lot of these chicks keep this stuff on the low. I mean, I'm telling you from experience, they will keep this stuff with them so on the low that only they know about it. I mean, I went into this in depth in my novel Legendary Mad Matilda, where Matilda was out here. She was the Columbia girl by day, the Columbia student by day, but then she was the raver by night. And a lot of that came from my experiences, again, with black female nerds. A lot of it came from watching that episode of The Cosby Show where Vanessa was getting into trouble, because when Vanessa got into trouble on The Cosby Show, basically she was Little Miss Sneaky. And again, those Little Miss Sneakies, this is where mama got to step in, because when you're dealing with the black female nerd, again, the only person who can really deal with her is Mama, because Mama is aware of the sneakiness. Mama is aware of the creep. Mama is aware of the low. Dad is oftentimes oblivious to the low because he likes to nurture his daughters and he doesn't want to see that side of her. But Mama understands that side of her because she understands female nature, and she understands when it comes to a lot of chicks are sneaky, a lot of chicks are secretive, a lot of chicks have skeleton bones, and those skeleton bones can basically derail their lives unless you get in there with a belt and chop up some behind. That's the only way you can really deal with little Miss Sneaky, is to let her know she ain't as smart as she thinks she is. And that's what I put in Legendary Mad Matilda. Mama lets Matilda know she ain't as smart as she thinks she is. And again, that's the only way you can deal with little Miss Sneaky. Again, little Miss Sneaky be out here doing all sorts of wild stuff. And again, the stuff I'm talking about in this live is just the tip of the iceberg, just the very tip of the iceberg as related to the black female nerd. But this is the type of stuff they keep secret. This is the stuff that they keep on the low, the stuff that they don't talk about, the stuff that they basically want to keep quiet, and want to keep quiet because if it come out on her, she's going to be looking like a 304 and looking like a freak. And again, she wants to keep that image up of being the good girl because she needs that image of the good girl in order to be able to enter these social circles of the white guys, of the non-black guys, and again, get to that road of having her social status elevated. And she won't go out here and tell you that part. No, won't tell you that part. No, I'm telling you that part because I know that one of the worst things you can have is find out this stuff about your daughter, but it's the truth about daughters. And again, when it comes to daughters, daughters are hard to raise. And again, if you are out here, one of the things that you have to understand, yes, sons may do dumb stuff in front of you, but when it comes to daughters, daughters do stuff dumb in the back of you. And again, the sneaky stuff that they do behind you is a lot worse than the dumb stuff the son does in front of you. And again, when it comes to the black female nerd, she does a lot of stuff in the back that can really, again, really embarrass your family because she's out here, again, putting up this image that she's doing good, but when she's out here doing dirt in these streets, doing a lot of dirt in these streets, doing a lot of grimy stuff in these streets, and again, doing a lot of stuff out here that's really foul. And again, that's why she's the original swirler, the original divestor. And again, nobody knew about this and wanted to talk about this. But when this chick dropped that comment, I had to go out here and put this all on blast, put it all on blast, and let everybody know what the real game is, because everybody wants to talk about how they wanted to go out here and again do these black male nerds and say, oh, the black male nerd could have got with the girls who've been out here with the dope boys, or be out here and be with the black female nerds. No, when it came to them, the black man who was a square guy, he was never an option. He was never an option as related to things until these women basically got turned out on both sides of the polarity. Both sides of the polarity, they basically were not an option until they got turned out. And once they got turned out, that's when they wanted to consider the good guy and wanted to consider the good guy after they made a mess of their lives and consider the good guy to clean up the mess that they made of their lives. But that man had no obligation to clean up any of this mess because he didn't make that mess. No, that woman needs to be sent back to either the white guys or the non-black guys where she was getting the Vienna sausage or the cream of some young guy, or getting the falafels or whatever she was getting, and Pookie and Ray Ray. That's where she needs to go, because that's the people who that she was serving up a taste of chocolate. And if she's serving up a taste of chocolate over there, then she needs to go clean up the mess she made with the chocolate and leave the square guys alone, because they cannot be a leader of a woman who followed behind other guys. If you follow behind another guy, then that's your leader. The Bible says so, that you have to submit to those men, because those are the men you were submitted to. But now that they want nothing to do with you, and again, this is what they have to do as related to things. I mean, when it comes down to things as related to these kind of nerd chicks, again, this is the lot they chose in life. And just like the popular chicks, you got to leave them to Pookie and Ray Ray if they chose Pookie and Ray Ray. And if they chose the white and non-black guys, this is where you leave them, where you find them, and keep it pushing towards your building yourself up and hopefully finding that quality woman who wants to go out here and follow your lead. Now, I'm going to get ready to wrap up tonight's stream, and I want to thank everybody for coming out to tonight's stream. And I want everybody to know, again, the SJS Direct 2025 catalog is getting ready to launch on March 22nd, and you can pre-order a copy of the first book, John Haynes, A Thorn in My Side, on Kindle right now by clicking the link in the description box. And you can also wait if you want to pick up the paperback copy. That'll be ready to go on March 21st. And if you guys want to see me do more live streams, again, you guys can drop some donations to the Super Chats, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. And I'm hoping to have some more great content because I've got a lot of video requests from different viewers, and I'm hoping to be able to share those topics with you guys next week because I'm going to be trying to film those videos this weekend as related to those video requests. And I'm hoping to get more great content out here for you. Again, next Friday, I'm hoping to have Kevin Grievu on the show, and we'll be talking about Darkstorm Comics. So you definitely want to be there for that stream. And again, I want to thank you guys for coming out to tonight's stream. I'm glad you enjoyed the topic, Gabriel. I'm glad you enjoyed that. I'd have to do research on that if you want that, Denzel. You'd have to send me the links to the information, along with the donation to PayPal or Cash App if you want me to do talking about the Exodus Mississippi campaign or something like that. I mean, again, I do videos like that. Why don't you send me? I don't know if I want to see that video about the black men on the low because I know about the down low guys in the fraternities, Truther, and I don't know if I want to see that. Again, this is a family channel and a very, very family channel. We don't do that stuff around here, that kind of freaky stuff. No, we are a family channel here, and we keep it PG-13 because YouTube has community guidelines. So, no, I don't think I want to see anything like that. But again, wrapping up tonight's stream, I hope you'll be there for next week's stream. And I'm hoping you'll be there for Kevin Grievu. Everybody have a good evening. Glad to see you, One Full Boss. And I hope you all have a good night.